Hi, everyone. It's Bev DeBono, and I have a really great idea for us to try today. And it is using either your border maker cartridge or a border punch. And instead of putting it at the top or the bottom of our pages, we are going to have fun and place them in the middle. So what we're going to need is two papers for our bases. We need an outer base and an inner base. And this is so that we can create that frame effect, which is a very popular effect that's going on right now. And I am just trying to real quick mute everyone. Okay, so and then what we're going to do is we're going to punch 3 borders that are going to go through the middle of our page. And so we're going to anchor our page from the middle versus the top or the bottom. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to create another piece like this. And I need my outer border and my outer base and my inner base. And then I'm going to need papers that I'm going to use for my mats. And then I'm going to need some coordinating papers that I'm going to use to punch my borders. So it's a little bit more than we usually do with all of this coordination, but it's a fun one. And I just thought it would be a different for us to try. So to get started, we're going to take our outer base, our very first base. And we are going to cut a 2-inch hollow frame on this base. And the reason we do that is so that we don't have so much weight in our albums. And we're also able to use what we cut from the inside of it to make mats and use for other items. So let's start by making a 2-inch hollow frame. Let's take our trimmer, and we're going to need 2 binder clips. So let's get 2 small binder clips. And what we're going to do, and this is really a fun thing to do, we're going to lift up the arm of our trimmer, and we're going to put our paper in at the 2-inch mark on the left-hand side. The 2-inch mark on the left-hand side. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take the housing, and make sure your paper is all the way at the top. We're going to take our housing and we're going to slide it. You see it slides on the rails so that the bottom of the housing goes to the 3-inch mark. Okay, so the bottom of your housing, it goes to the 3-inch mark. The reason we're going to do that is because when you turn it to the side, you see this white line on the blue housing. That is where your blade is going to cut. And there is a 1 inch from the blade to the top of the housing and 1 inch from the blade to the bottom of the housing. So to get a 2-inch cut, we have to start the blade, start the housing at the 3 inches, the blade will cut at 2. Okay, so to make it easy, let's put the bottom of our housing at the 3-inch mark. Let's get one of our binder clips and put that on one of the rails right behind the housing. Okay, and then we're going to do a similar thing down here at the bottom. So to get a 2-inch hollow frame, our blade has to end at the 10-inch mark, but our bottom of our housing has to go down to the 11-inch mark. So put the bottom of your housing at the 11-inch mark and put a binder clip at the 11-inch mark. Okay, and now we're ready to cut. So go back up to the top, press your housing down, and then slide your blade down to the next binder clip. open the arm, turn your paper to the right, to the right. Put this at the 2-inch mark. And we're just going to cut right between the 2 binder clips. So press down and then lift up when you're done. Lift up your arm. Turn it again to the right. So you see we are cutting away here. We're making a frame. Put it again at the 2-inch mark. Press down, cut between your binder clips. Lift up, turn it around to the right again. 2-inch mark. Press down and cut between your binder clips. And now you have a perfect 2-inch frame. And you also have a nice square piece that you can use for mats. And that's 8 by 8 inches. And you can do a lot of mats out of this. Okay, so put that aside. We're not going to use that tonight, but you do have a 2-inch frame that we're going to be using. Now let's take out our binder clips and our inner base. Our inner base is going to be 11 by 11. So let us open our arm of our trimmer. Let's put our paper in at the 11-inch mark all the way to the top. And cut one side. Turn to the left. Put it at the 11-inch mark all the way to the top. And cut that side. We only have to cut 2 sides because we're making an 11 by 11 square. Okay, and that's exactly what we have. Now, before we put this onto our base, what I want to do is punch out our borders here so that we can cut any excess off the sides before we put it onto our base. So decide what border punch or what you're going to be using as your focal point here. And we're going to punch 3 different borders. Okay, so if you're using your border maker system, you insert it up to the paper guide. Flip your paper guide over, put your cartridge into your housing, make sure you hear the snap, and we're cutting all the way through. And we're making 3 different borders out of 3 different colors. Okay, clear out your debris. And let's punch that again. This time I'm going to use the orange. Piece of orange. And oh my goodness, look what happened. I don't have enough for it to go over the magnet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fool the border system to think that I have a larger piece of paper by just taking little Post-it notes and putting it, extending the paper so that the border maker system thinks I have a larger piece of paper and it has more of a grip. Okay. And now I'm going to punch my second border all the way to the top and all the way down to the bottom. Oops. Be careful on some of these because you don't really want them all to tear. Okay, and then my third color, we remove all of the punch debris. And then I'm going to do my third color. And now I can take off my mats that my Post-it notes that I use to fool my border maker system. And I'm ready to punch my third border. Again, put it back into the paper guide, flip it back, and punch all the way through. And if you're using a border punch, that's fine. If you're using a border cartridge that comes apart, like one of these, that's fine also. This is a very flexible layout. Okay, so now I've cleared out all of my debris here. And now what I want to do is I just want to show you a trick and why I did what I did. If you're going to layer, and I'm going to layer these, I'm going to put that right at that 11-inch mark here. I have a 1/2 inch all the way around. I want to line it up so that I'm not cutting into half of a boat here or half of a leaf or anything that that you have. And if you have a punch or a border that stays attached like this, when you layer it, it's fine if you cut just a straight edge on it. But to give it even more movement, it would be fun to use the wavy trimmer to cut just a little bit and to show some movement on these as well. So there's nothing to say you can't layer them straight across. I just happen to like the movement of the wavy trimmer. So I'm going to get the wavy trimmer and I'm going to now just insert my punched border, and I'm going to go oh so close to this edge. I'm just going to use my trimmer as my measurement here. And I'm going to put it so close to the edge that I can see on the trimmer where it's going to cut. And I want it really close. Maybe if I flip it this way, it might be easier for you to see. Yes, it actually is. So what I'm doing is I'm putting my piece that I'm cutting close into the wavy end of the trimmer. And I'm going to go as close as I can without cutting into this border. But I just want a nice wave to it. Okay, and when you think you have it nice and even, look at where your openings are falling. Then go ahead and make your cuts. Okay, so this would be the first one. And I'm going to do that again with the second layer. I'm going to put that under the arm and move it until I can just see where it's going to be creating that line, that nice wave, without cutting the border itself. Okay, so you may have to play with it just a little, finagle it, you know, move it down just a teens. You want it just to creep out from where that blade is going to cut. You don't want to cut into that border that you just punched. Okay, and when you think you've got it, then go ahead and cut that one. And now you're ready for your third. Again, put it in under your arm. and just play with it so that you can see. I just always like to use the trimmer, the outer edge of the trimmer as my measurement there. You can see where it's going to cut, and it's not going to cut into the border I just punched. Yay, got it. Okay. So now the fun begins. We're going to take our middle one, and that's the one, if you put your inner base at 11.5, so you're going to center this now on your mat. You're going to be a 1/2 inch in on all sides. And we're going to put the middle piece at the 6-inch mark. So we're going to start with the middle piece at the 6-inch mark. And I'm going to put a little bit of my repositionable tape on that. And I'm really going to this one's jumping around. Put it at your 6-inch mark from side to side. And try not to, and this is one of the reasons why I went with an 11 by 11, because I usually go with an 11.5. It's because I can cut off an entire, for this particular one, sailboat without a 1/2 of a sailboat looking, lurking there. Okay, and now you're going to put your one at above it, and you're going to nestle it underneath it just a little bit, just like that. So if you need to use your multi-purpose tool and lift it up just a bit, go ahead. So I'm doing this using my multi-purpose tool. And that's going to be, at about the, see, I'm just lifting up the little sailboats to nestle it underneath. It was important to get that middle layer right at the 6-inch mark. And we might have to do one side at a time. Okay, and this one's going to go just above it. And just use your multi-purpose tool and lift it up so that it can nestle underneath. And you can use all different punches, which is what I love about this particular idea. Okay, and then straighten it out. And then you're ready to press it down. And if you find that one of your pieces is sticking up, just hold it up, put a little repo tape, and then tap it down. And then you're ready for your third layer. And that's going to go probably at about the 7-inch mark. So it's all about an inch. 7 5. And there you go. So now you have your middle piece. And then what you want to do is flip it over. And if you have any tails or whiskers that are hanging over your edges, just take your scissors and clip away the little tails or the little whiskers, whatever you've got. Clip those away. And now you have your middle border. And you're ready to put that onto your outer base. So I'm going to get my outer base, the one that has a 2-inch hollow frame, and I'm going to just tape just around the edges. And then I can attach it to the outer base. So this frame look is a very popular look right now in scrapbooking, where we do a base and then an inner base. And it's almost like having your pictures in a frame. And that has become very popular right now. And if you did nothing else with this page and didn't put any mats on it, it's a beautiful page with a border right in the middle like that. If you want to add some mats, I cut 4 mats and they're 5 inches long by 4 inches wide. So I used a very busy pattern for that. And the reason I did is because I really wanted this lighthouse at the bottom because I had some specific pictures for them. So I'm going to cut, I need this 4 inches wide. So I am going to cut this. I'm going to put this in my trimmer. And I'm going to turn it so that my lighthouse is at the 4-inch mark. And this paper is from the Great Lakes paper pack. And then because I want to really have the lighthouse as close to the edge, for this particular one, I'm going to try to line my lighthouse as close to my edge as possible like that. Okay, and now cut. And now cut it to the 5 inches. Just double checking that. Yeah. And now cut that to the 5 inches. 5 inches and then 5 inches. And that's going to become my bottom. Just like that. And then I want to use the top of the paper. So I want to face it this way, and I'm going to cut this at 4 inches. And so this is another way to use what we call one of these predominant patterns. Sometimes they're hard to use because there's so much on it, but if you use it as a title, it's a really nice, nice way to do that. Okay, and I'm going to have to nestle that underneath just a little. Okay, so your mats are 5 by 4, and we're going to go ahead and tape those down. And then if you have any mats from your mat packs that have a nice saying or a nice title, you can use that as your focal point in the middle. I'm going to take this down and nestle it under some of the little sailboats there. Just a little bit. And if I need to lift it, I'm just going to use my multi-purpose tool and just lift just a teens so that I can nestle it under. And you're just centering it. And do the same thing to the other side. We're just going to nestle it under. I have to lift up my sailboat a little bit. And there you go. Again, a very, very, very pretty page. And that's just with 4 mats. Okay, so now if you have sayings, or if you have titles on mats that you want to use, you could use either an oval or a circle and decide what you want it to say. So I used, this is a mat from Serene Waters. I'm going to use that. And then I'm also going to use the saying here, peace is always beautiful, Walt Whitman. And you see, I had already used it for the other one, so I'm going to repeat the same thing. So depending on the size of your saying, that will depend on the size of your circle. See, I could have used a much smaller circle here from the inside to cut that title, but I wanted a couple of the fishes. So I decided to go just a little bit bigger, and I'm going to cut on the inside with the blue blade for this particular one. So it depends on what you're using. That will make a difference on the size of your template. So I'm going to be using the blue blade on this one for the inside. And that cuts closer in. And then to make my border around it, I'm going to be using the same template, but this time with the red blade, because the red blade cuts very close around the edge of the template. So I'm going to try to cut right in the middle of this mat. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I can use it again to either mat another picture, or that on itself on a page is a lot of fun to put just a couple of these and then you have your circle pictures in them. It's really kind of fun. And something like this makes a very, just looking at that makes a very fast kind of a page. See if I had the other one. If I had the other one here, you see how fast a 4 page that becomes just by using what I cut out of my mats. So that's why I try to, always give you these little tips, because this way you can use it twice and it's a lot of fun. And now I'm going to just put this right in the middle of my, put it in the middle of your middle, the middle of the middle border. And that's going to go right here. 6-inch mark. And then my title is going to go right inside of that. Okay, and then if I want, I can add a couple other little goodies from Serene Waters. They're little octopuses, little starfishes. All kinds of fun things. So I'm going to add some starfish and a couple of the other stars on here as well. Okay, and then one last thing. I know all my group knows it's the dots, right? So we're going to get a pen that has, Creative Memories pen that has a bold tip. And we're just going to put some dots to give it movement. I'm just going to put a couple dots along the border. And this way, it just has a little bit of movement between the sailboats, and it's just a little bit more. Oh, I needed a few more on this page. Okay, so there you have it. There's the exact same idea done in two different ways. Patriotic or your lighthouse, beautiful serene waters. So tell me which one you like the best. And I hope you enjoyed this layout class. I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel. It's called Bev DeBono Designs. Please subscribe to it and you'll know every time I post a video. I usually post every week and I have over 70 videos up there right now. So enjoy, and I hope to see you all again soon. Bye-bye.